Hello, hello, hola, hola, amigos, amigas, bienvenidos, welcome once again to Lima, Peru, and welcome to my home. I am your Lima City tour guide, and well, today I will continue with a previous series I started some days ago related with Cusco and its highlights, its touristic highlights. This series is dedicated to inform, to help you understand what you can see in my country as a visitor, as a traveler. I am transmitting into platforms at the same time on YouTube and on TikTok with the hopes that more people can get to know what I do also here in Lima virtually, like live streaming and talking about history, Peruvian history, untold history, but also helping people to find information in English about, what to do and what to see here in my country. I've been doing live virtual tours since the world pandemic. Back in 2020, as a tour guide, as a professional tour guide, I was not able to work. As you can imagine, also the world simply stopped. And my love for history and also to share, Peru took me also in this path, put me in this path of sharing my country, but virtually. So I have some years already live streaming for different platforms. And now, I try to do it in a more like let's say, easy way, and using YouTube and TikTok. So if you wish to see lots of like long, let's say, series I've done, or like events of 1 hour recorded, I highly encourage you to visit my profile on YouTube. You can look for my events just by looking for the channel Peru History Adventures with Vanessa Vasquez. Okay, so I will begin with the sharing of the images I have for you. If you've been with me in, let's say, in this series, I've done it live, so probably some of you have been able to see this event when I was live streaming. But if not, that's okay. You can see the recording of this series and also other on YouTube. Okay, not on TikTok, because TikTok doesn't like much the too long videos. And I really do long ones, 1 hour, 30 minutes. This is a continuation of a series dedicated to Cusco, and I am from Lima, born, raised in Lima. My specialty is, of course, the city of Lima, but as a tour guide and also tour leader, I've been able to see different beautiful cities in my country, and I had the pleasure of showing travelers from all over the world beautiful Cusco, for example, the beautiful Cusco, in company of course, always local tour guides from the city of Cusco. And also I've learned quite a lot from my colleagues in Cusco firsthand about, many of these beautiful places. So if you are planning to come to Peru and you want to know like what to do, where to go, where to see, especially in Cusco, go to my previous videos. And also let's continue with architecture, and in this case, colonial architecture in the city of Cusco. Cusco has like a huge amount of churches, and one of the most impacting element related with these beautiful buildings is the fact that, there you can see like easily the Incan presence and also the Spanish. So what we are seeing is the view of the Franciscan Church is located in a section that was basically developed after the arrival of the conquistadors, like more developed than before. And but we know that there was, of course, Incan presence in this section of the city of Cusco. There's no information about what construction used to be here before the Spaniards. Indeed, there is Incan architecture in this part. So, but the highlight about this church and its convent is in the museum of the church, and well, that highlight is basically, I'm going to show you what is the must-see element you should see when you come to Cusco. Inside this religious building is a painting that is known as the biggest colonial painting that we have in the country, and probably one of the largest, one of the biggest in Latin America. So this is a monstrous painting, so huge. I mean, just for the size, not for what is painted on it. It's a genealogy, the genealogy of the Franciscans. This strongly reminds me also one painting, also Franciscans genealogy, that we have in Lima, in the convent of the Franciscans of Lima. But this one is 12 meters by 9 meters, 12 meters high, 9 meters wide. So it is really huge, and it's like a tree. It has branches and also faces of saints, of important, let's say, representatives of the Franciscan order there. So, and by the way, I'm seeing also some friends joining. Hola, Adrian. Hello. Thanks for joining on YouTube. Gracias, amiga. So, and look also at the rooftop of this edification, where the painting is basically like staircase. This is as I said before, in the convent. So on top you can see this pretty like Moorish style rooftop, or ceiling. So the Franciscans still actually have lots of presence in our life as Peruvians, basically because of the many beautiful churches they also built during the colonial times, and also their participation in the process of evangelization. So we have now another highlight of Cusco. While you're doing a walking tour in the historic center of Cusco, you have also like gems, like, for example, the Arch of Santa Clara. Hola, Marilu, ¿cómo estás, amiga? Hola, thanks for joining. So the Arch of Santa Clara, or Saint Clair, is quite close to the Franciscan Church. It's in between the Franciscan Church and also a school known as Escuela de Ciencias, or Colegio de Ciencias, and this is also a very old corner of the historic center of Cusco that I also mentioned this in our last meeting, was included in the UNESCO's list of heritage sites in the world. This is a UNESCO zone since the year 1983. This monumental art piece, this arch, is from the year 1835, and it was made to commemorate a very interesting event in our history. For a very short period of time, for some years, there was a project for uniting the countries of Peru and Bolivia. This was after the independence and also the official separation of both nations. In my opinion, Bolivia and Peru, we have so much in common. We have such a common history, as well as also many countries in South America, because we were part at some point of a viceroyalty that eventually was cut in little parts. Sadly, our destinies went apart, but there was an intention of reuniting these two nations, and this monument was done to celebrate that occasion. But finally, this project came to an end. Hola, Ivan. Hola. Hi, Vanessa. Oh, gracias. Thank you. Oh my God, thank you. It means a lot. Well, I'm also learning too. I make a lot of mistakes with English. English is, as you can tell, not my first language. But well, there's a say, practice makes the master. Oh, so I'm sure you are in a really good pathway also by also trying to improve your English. So I hope I can help you. But I'm sure now because you're writing really, really well in English. So thanks for being here, Ivan. Gracias, gracias, amigo. So as we continue and walk under this beautiful arch or gate. So far I know, by the way, like when is something an arch or a gate? Well, a gate, it tends to be not really so like pompous or like historically like an element for celebration. So usually the word arch, like arch, is related with, for example, Arc de Triomphe or Arco de Triunfo. No? So basically, it's more related with a site, a physical place that celebrates an important event. There can be also some, let's say, variations to this rule, but well, the name of this one is Arco de Santa Clara in Spanish, or Arc of San Clair. Okay, so we will continue now next, and if we continue walking in that direction under the gate or the arch, just a couple of blocks away, you will see the famous Mercado de San Pedro. Gracias, Marilu. Gracias, querida. So the Mercado de San Pedro, the market of St. Peter's Market, receives this name basically because its location really close, very, very close to a church also named the Church of St. Peter, Iglesia de San Pedro. So also probably related with the atrium or the plaza in front of the church, and then well, the market located right next to that plaza. It got impregnated also with the name of this space. So well, this market is a market from the year 1925, even though before the market existed in this location, but the physical building you see there is from the year 1925, and curiously, the building you see there was designed by Gustav Eiffel, the creator of the Eiffel Tower. Also in Peru, we have some buildings that were influenced by the company of Gustav Eiffel. Eiffel exported also like metallic structures to different parts of the world, and Peru also received bridges and received, for example, these infrastructures to finally like make markets, for example. So this is the case of the Mercado de San Pedro. And once you get inside the market, and this also brings me really, really nice memories, because the Mercado is so colorful. Even though it feels a little bit industrial inside, with these very, very high sort of like pillars that support a roof that is a slope roof. It's made to resist the heavy rains that sometimes we have in the Andes. There is a rainy season and a dry season, so it's necessary to make everything prepare for rains. So once you get inside, well, you see this. Let me show you a bit of, well, how is the appearance inside the market is so colorful, so lively, so many like locals and tourists also coming for, well, the best juices, also some of the best juices in the city. You can get them here, fresh juice, products locally grown, and also there is a section where you can get souvenirs also, let's say cheapest and also good quality souvenirs you can get in that area of Cusco, because that zone is, we're talking about a few blocks away, the main square of Cusco. And they are really fancy, like stores, shops. You can get the highest quality of alpaca, baby alpaca, and so on. But if you want to get like some affordable, very, very affordable souvenirs, well, the market of Cusco is also a good alternative. Okay, and also, of course, like, you make happy many, many people, many vendors in that location. Okay. Hola, hola, amigos. Gracias. Thanks for the activity here in the chat. It really means a lot to me seeing you like chatting. And also, if you have a question, let me know. Let me know also any question. I'm trying to look at both sides, both apps. So very good. So let's continue. And well, a little bit about let's say like more civilian architecture. So we've seen churches. In the previous life I had, I mentioned mainly churches, and I think churches are very important also for the identity of Peruvians. Like it's hard to take out of us or our identities, even though many of us are not Catholic, let's say, per se. Like we identify maybe as culturally Catholics, but not religious Catholics. Religion is a really important element in the, let's say, who we are. No, civilian architecture, like the houses, especially domestic architecture, I think is an even better way to say it, is fascinating. And in Cusco, you can see the Spanish influence and the Incan stone as foundation, like in this case, for example. This is a museum. It used to be the house of the most celebrated, basically, mestizo of our history. A mestizo is a son of a Spanish, in this case, a conquistador of great, great status, and also a princess, an Incan princess. So we're talking about a union of, let's say, cultures in one person, and embodied in one person, and also ethnicities. No? So mestizo was someone that was, let's say, a blend of white indigenous. Okay, and mestizos most of the times were not allowed to embrace openly both let's say, influences or cultures they had back in the colonial times. Because even though they could be children of even nobility, like in the case of the men who live in this house, they were denied of the satisfaction, let's say, of being proud of that heritage, because the conquistadors imposed their culture, their religion, their way of life. So, well, the person who lived in this house was the Inca Garcilaso de la Vega. His father also was descendant of one of the greatest, most important Baroque writers of Spain, Garcilaso de la Vega. And his mother was a princess, Isabel Chimpuocchio. So here is where he was born. And although he lived shortly, really, in Peru, I mean, he had a very long life, Oh, but shortly in Peru, because he was taken to Spain by, well, the necessity, not really by his father, but the passing of his father, and also his relatives neglecting him certain rights as a son of Hidalgo and a legitimate son, well, made him travel to Spain, and he lived most of his life in Spain. But saw his, let's say, his constant, say, need to remember his time in Cusco, in Peru, in the land of his mother, made him later write a book, which also is celebrated as one of the most important, in part, chronicles, and also books related with, well, the life before the conquest. Okay, the royal commentaries of Inca Garcilaso de la Vega. Sorry, I'm taking so long to explain his life and why it's so important. This man, this person, as basically the first mestizo, as we usually call him, the first man who embodied, well, these two, like, influences in one person. But I think that this is a good reason, like all of what I've mentioned, for you to visit his home. That nowadays is a museum, is the regional museum of Cusco, very close to the main square of Cusco. And I have an image of how it looks inside. So on the outside, that house also has the Incan stone in the foundation and the Spanish influence on top. That could be, for example, that house, I don't know, in Seville, maybe in Spain. In the inside, we continue carrying this Spanish influence. So we continue seeing these very big, very open patios, these also corridors that also are under a roof, like sort of like balconies looking into the patio inside. That also is seen in many houses, especially in the middle south of Spain. And also the experts say that, well, this is the Moorish influence first of all in Spain, because there was about almost 800 years of Muslim influence in the Iberian Peninsula that left their footprint in that territory. And later on, the conquistadors, who in some cases were even children of converted Muslims, or Moriscos, that were converted, that embraced the Catholic faith, they later traveled to the Americas, and they also brought this technique, these artistic values also, and, well, put them in their houses. So that's why Peru, for example, and many important cities of the country built by the Spaniards, established by the Spaniards in an early time of our conquest history, still have this architecture that looks so Spanish. So, well, let's continue. And now, well, a little bit of museums also. We already seen the house of Inca Garcilaso de la Vega. And, well, that's the regional museum of Cusco. This is another museum that is a must if you wish to like visit museums in the city of Cusco. There are many, but I'm going just to choose some for you today. For example, this is the MAP museum. This is a museum dedicated to pre-Columbian history. So the letters MAP stand for Museo de Arte Precolombino. okay, map. And this museum belongs to the Larco collection that is located in Lima. Larco Museum has a very old history. Originally was created in the north, in the department of La Libertad, very close to Trujillo, basically to the city of Trujillo. And the owner of this museum, this great let's basically collector of moche art. Moche is a culture, or mochica, pre-Hispanic culture. Jose Larco Hoyle realized that, well, his collection, which was really, really big and now has about 45,000 pieces in total, was in such a remote location house, very, very remote from any possible visitors that wanted to see, to reach out, something like this. So that's why initially he moved his collection to the capital, to Lima, in also an hacienda house. It's very curious, a former hacienda house, the Cueva Hacienda, but later, well, he adopted this house and turned it into a museum. And then later, well, this the museum administration thought that Cusco needed also a collection, or a piece of the collection from Larco. It's not that there were not enough museums there, but Larco wanted to bring their own vision, focused in, for example, centering into the art pieces, instead of not just the chronology, for example, and the evolution of the art, more like around the storytelling of Larco. So, well, that's how the Art Museum of Pre-Columbian Art Pieces was established. So, well, this is a must visit place in Cusco, and it has an excellent cafe of the highest quality cafe restaurant, of the highest quality that you can also enjoy. Another museum of my selection today for you all is Casa Concha. This house belonged to a marquis who was once governor of Cusco. Again, very close to the main square, and also you can notice the details related with the architecture. So just for someone who loves architecture, this is another must. But if you love archaeology, well, this is definitely a must, because Casa Concha keeps now a treasure, a national treasure. The pieces that were taken by Hiram Bingham, the explorer and, well, discoverer to the world, let's say, of Machu Picchu. This is also a topic that is quite debated in Peru about the discovery, who discovered Machu Picchu. There are, well, lots of evidences that point out that Machu Picchu was discovered before Hiram Bingham, put it in the eye of the world in the year 1911. But, well, he has the credit for being the first one who published the information about this site, and also promoted the investigations related with Machu Picchu. So that's basically why Hiram Bingham, of course, is always going to be associated with the scientific discovery of Machu Picchu, the world wonder. But what happens also, and this is the part that tends to feel like a little bit like odd or strange for Peruvians when we think about this man, is that, well, in his missions, like to investigate Machu Picchu, and there were like several. I remember there were so far 3 times he visited Machu Picchu. It was 1911, I think was like 1912, and then 1915. And in those visits, he took lots of pieces from Machu Picchu to the university that he worked with, and also in a way sponsored his excavations, Yale University. And for many years, the pieces that were taken from Machu Picchu were exhibited at the Peabody Museum that belongs to Yale. So it was really unfair, of course, for Peruvians to not being able to display these pieces in their own home, like in Cusco in this case, in Machu Picchu, or in Cusco, which is the capital city of the region. So finally, after lots of work and lots of conversations, in the year 2011, the first group of pieces from the Peabody Museum were returned. So basically, Yale accepted the returning of the pieces, and they are here. So far, I remember there are like about 300 pieces in exhibit. Also, there are pieces that are like stored, and Peabody Museum continues keeping and small, so far they say, a small part of the findings. So, well, now we are definitely happier. And also another museum, this is the Inca Museum, again, really close to the main square of Cusco. And the Inca Museum was created in another colonial house. This house, this museum, is home of a huge collection of Incan and also some pre-Incan objects, but mainly Incan. And by the way, they have the biggest collection in display of queros. If you don't know what is a quero is a ceremonial, let's say, like cup, like the one you're seeing in the upper part of the picture. And those were extremely important during ceremonies for the Incas, but also in the pre-Incan times. Okay, I hope that you are able to see me. By the way, I just want to make sure that everything is okay, that the internet is good, that there are no glitches in the internet, because it can happen sometimes. So if you can send me a message or let's say like a thumbs up or a heart or something like that, that would be lovely, because I know that you're still there. Okay, I see also Marilu. Thank you so much. Gracias. So we continue. We still have a little bit of information also to share today. So, I was saying that if you want to see these queros, by the way, I was also saying that they were of great importance in the pre-Incan times too, as well as in the Incan times, because they are related with the libation or the drinking of a drink that was made, redundantly also, that was made from corn, the chicha. Chicha is a drink that is still we enjoy in the country, in the Andes mainly, but also in other parts of the country, and it's an alcoholic drink made from corn, from the fermentation, a soft fermentation of corn drink. The sugars in this corn drink, after keeping this drink from a couple of weeks, turn into alcohol. This drink that was considered to be very sacred. It was not like everybody could drink alcohol every day. Chicha was reserved for important occasions. It was served in these containers, in these, let's say, cups. And usually the act of drinking chicha was done in twos, because there was always an idea of let's say like retribution, and also enjoying. It was not just for one, it was also for two or more. Okay, let's continue. And okay, this is another highlight of Cusco. And by the way, if you want to go to Cusco, and you are planning to stay for some nights in the city of Cusco. This is my favorite corner to stay in Cusco, but I want to give you some advices. This is the Barrio de San Blas, the neighborhood of San Blas. It has the most gorgeous views of Cusco. I tried to find some nice pictures of this place, of this neighborhood, but it is higher than most of the historic center of Cusco. And you have to go always walking up or down. And also it has very, very narrow streets, very, very narrow streets. So if you are planning to, I don't know, like go with lots of like luggages and you want to be taken to the front of your hotel, most likely it won't happen if you are in this neighborhood. But if you are avid walker, you really want to see a nice neighborhood in Cusco, this is the to-go place, Barrio de San Blas. This is the artisans neighborhood. No? So we have lots of artisans here that still also produce, let's say, figures, images, most of the times religious images, and they have inherit the art of doing them from their ancestors. So this neighborhood existed, or there was a community here before the conquest, but at the time of the arrival of the conquistadors, they established this artisans neighborhood here. They located the artisans in this zone. So I would like to show you one more important element also of Cusco, of the historic center. And now we are just like moving a little bit in direction to the Incan architecture that is still is like visible and hasn't been like sort of like replaced by a Spanish influence on top, by a house or a church. In this case, we have a building also on top, but you can see the foundation made of rock carved by the Incas. And this is really fascinating because this stone that you see here is probably the most famous Incan stone we have in the entire city of Cusco. So this is the 12 angle stone. And as you can see, because when I put just the picture without the numbers, like many people say, like it can be possible that it has 12 angles. So there you go, you can see clearly where are the angles, and like clearly they are 12. And this is probably one of the most incredible evidences of the, say, the work of the Incas, how meticulous it was, this work, how precise also. And you cannot put like even one string of hair in between those rocks. And they didn't use mortars also. They didn't use mortars. It's really, really incredible. Many of these stones also, like all together, make shapes, form figures. Also, I've been told that this stone, for example, is part of a puma or even the head of a puma. Well, you need to also use your imagination a lot to see these images. But why not? Like the Incas really made architecture with the wish of representing figures in most of the cases. So this used to be the palace of Inca Roca. And let's continue over here. Well, this is Sacsayhuaman or Sacsayhuaman also. There are two ways of let's say pronounce this name in Quechua. And Adrian, buffering a little bit. Oh, I'm so sorry that there are some glitches of the internet. I hope it gets better. Maybe it's because it's nighttime, so there's more like demand of the internet in the neighborhood. So please tell me if you can still hear me. I would love to know. Sacsayhuaman or Sacsayhuaman. Okay, so what this word means, it comes from two words in Quechua, sacsai, which means satisfied, and waman, which means hawk or falcon, which also was a very important creature, and also totem in the pre-Hispanic times, the hawk, the falcon. So Sacsayhuaman was in the Layut of Cusco, in the original shape of the city of Cusco, the head of the puma. And even some experts believe that there's one wall, very very long, that actually we are seeing it here in the picture, that looks like from the top like zigzagging. Could be the representation of the teeth of the puma. So everything was done with intention, right? In the ancient Incan times. So it usually is described as a fortress, the fortress of Sacsayhuaman, but not every expert agrees in this. Some specialists believe that it was not a fortress, it was not used exclusively like for military purposes, or a defense place, that maybe instead was a ceremonial site, like, or most importantly used as a ceremonial site. And its construction dates back to the time of Pachacutec Inca, the great transformer also of the Inca Empire, the one who started the empire basically of the Incas, and continued also and improved really greatly during the times of his son Tupac Yupanqui, one of the greatest Incas of our history. When I say Inca, in this case, I'm talking about the Incan kings, the monarchs. An equivalent to that could be probably like Rey King. So, Tupac Yupanqui was an explorer, and it is also believed that he even set sail in direction to Oceania, so that he visited in an exploration trip or travesty islands in the Pacific, reaching out even Rapa Nui or Easter Islands. Well, so that's another story, but it's fascinating seeing that, according to some chronicles also, and the oral transmission, exchanging of knowledge, we have stories in which our Incan kings were able to travel even that far. Okay, so this place also is very famous. In June 24th, we have the celebration of the Inti Raimi, and it takes place in three locations. It takes place in Coricancha in Cusco, in the main square of Cusco, and the final part, the conclusion part, is here in Sacsayhuaman. And then we see here, a little bit more of the stones of that conform this construction, and they are megalithic. They are huge. For example, this one here you're seeing is one of the biggest and heaviest. There are stones that are between 120 tons to 200 tons. So moving something like that, it's mind-blowing. We don't know exactly how it was done, but we definitely know the Incas were very ingenious. Our pre-Hispanic people were very ingenious, and they knew really well their geography, their resources, and also they counted with people. They counted with people like immediately. If they needed like 20,000 people in a moment, they will immediately get that amount of people or even more. Okay, so this stone you see here, so big. Some of the biggest pieces are 8 or close to 9 meters tall. Those are, I don't know, like 26 feet sorry, I use meters, but more or less like around 26 feet tall. So they were like very, very big. Okay, so well, the stones used in Cusco, in the city of Cusco, and also in Sacsayhuaman, they came from nearby quarries. Some of them are about 20 kilometers away. Those are the distant, most distant ones. But also seems that in the very Sacsayhuaman there used to be a quarry. And lastly, at the time of the conquest of the Spaniards, most of these Incan constructions, and especially Sacsayhuaman, were used as quarries for the Spanish. So the Spanish people, to build their churches, to build their homes, they use rock from this location. So what you're seeing here in this picture or in the previous one is not the way, the appearance how this building had, because lots of rocks were moved from there. So we continue, and there's also another interesting or mysterious thing related with Cusco, and also related to the Incan design of the city. There are legends, there are stories, there are even some chronicles, including the one, for example, of the royal commentaries of the Incas by Inca Garcilaso de la Vega, in which is described and mentioned the existence of chincanas. The chincana basically is like a tunnel or tunnels that go under the city of Cusco. Okay, and many historians didn't really give much credit to the existence of those chincanas because they believed just was like legends. But now we know for sure that those passages, those tunnels, or as the meaning also of chincana from Quechua into English would be place where one gets lost, also existed. And recently, there were discoveries done in the city of Cusco, especially very close to Sacsayhuaman, by Peruvian archaeologists that were able to find the access, the entrance into a main corridor that, according to the specialists, goes for several, let's say, meters, about 1 kilometer, starting in Sacsayhuaman and goes under even the main square of Cusco. So isn't this fascinating? So probably was used as usually most corridors are, like for like escaping, for example, and in case of invasions, because Cusco was such an important city that they knew they had to be prepared in case enemies wanted to invade their city. So they use also these chincanas for that purpose. Okay, so and we continue, and here we have well, another important site close to the historic center of Cusco. We have the archaeological site of Kenco. Sacsayhuaman is Kenco, also Pucapucara and Tamumachay, which I will be showing you some pictures about these sites, belong to a touristic circuit, very famous, named Four Ruins of Cusco. And well, you can visit these places in a morning. So that's highly, highly recommended. It's a must, basically, if you are going to Cusco and you want to have an archaeological day in the city, not just going far away, not even going yet to the Sacred Valley. You can also do it as part of your Sacred Valley tour, but if you want to be just in the city, you can also do these temples. They usually are called like name ruins, but I don't like to use the word ruins because they are not in ruin, or if they were, well, we know why. But they are very, very important sites, and still you can see lots and learn lots from them. So Kenko, which means labyrinth, was a temple in which, according to now the updated information we have, was a place where the dead were prepared to go to the afterlife. So the climate control space, very, very cold, very dry, was a zone, a place where the bodies of the dead monarchs were prepared, with putting feet in embryonic position, like covered with certain mixes of like liquids and protective creams probably in their skin, like prepare to look their best for the afterlife. But well, the mummies of the Incas, they never left us, because they were later on transported to be protected, to be cared by their panacas or their relatives. Also, their relatives took care of them, even in this life. No, so they continue their existence, the existence of the families of these Inca kings. Once even they passed away, well, they were all like meant to be for taking care of the mummy of this king, which was in a sort of like long sleep, and they really were not dead. No, so we continue with the next site, Puca Pucara. So Puca in Quechua, or translated into English, means red, and Pucara is fortress. So probably the reason why this name was given to this structure, to this construction, is because at sunset, with the sun like setting, the red tonality of the sun somehow impregnated like the walls of this temple, and well, it turned into more like reddish color. So that is one explanation for the name, of the curious name of this fortress. And this also side is looking in direction to the jungle, so it's looking towards the Antisuyu. By the way, the name of the Andes mountains is also related with the name given to the region that was in the jungle, according to the Incas, and also the people who lived, the wild people, according to the Incas, because they were very strong, very brave. These groups that live in the jungle, the Andes. Okay, so when the Spaniards came and they asked to the indigenous people about the name of those mountains, well, the indigenous they really didn't know like what they were asked for, but because the Spaniards like pointed in that direction, well, they thought they were asking for the people that live in that site, and they said, well, the Andes. And the Spaniards, they listened probably like a little bit like differently, the pronunciation, and they said, oh, Andes. Also, that is the Andes, and that's why the name of the mountain range we have in South America is Andes. Andes. Well, so we continue. Oh, by the way, this fortress is also like so important, because seems that actually from there, like, even though it's looking to the region of the jungle of the Andes, from there you could visualize the entrance, or the point when the four suyos, or the four parts of the Inca Empire, got into this territory, the entrances from those regions into this territory, because Cusco City was in the center, in between all of these four regions. That's why Cusco City was the navel of this big country that once was called Tawantinsuyo. So, and a fortress probably because it was a place of defense in case it was necessary. Okay, and here we have Tambo Machai. Tambo Machai usually is referred to as the temple of the water, the way how the water has been channeled like into this side, into this zone, beautifully, and also that Inca, like layers of the Inca stones, Inca walls there. It also is like touching when you see this for the first time. So also there is a relation between Inca Pachacutic and this site, so probably he was the one who ordered his construction, and well, it was used as a place for cleansing, for taking baths by the Inca Pachacutic. So well, this was a place for resting also. And the name of Tambo Machai means in English guest house. So Tambo is a resting place or a guest house or a place to rest also. And Machai is cave, because probably originally there was a cave from where emanated also water at some point, which later was used like as the original place or the source of this water that was used to meet the needs of Inca Pachacutic and then the rest of the Incas. So this was a very, very sacred place. Water is also a sacred element for us in our cosmovision, and of course for us humans in general, but for the cosmovision of the people of the Andes especially. And probably the fortress that you just saw was built and designed to protect also this sacred space. So, well, my dear friends, I'm coming now again to the end of this event. If you wish to send me a message, an email with a question, or maybe suggest some maybe new topics for us for the future. I'm really happy, really happy to listen to you all and also bring you more. If you came to, let's say, like in the middle of this event, I will be posting the full event also in my YouTube channel, as always I do. The full event is going to be open for replay as many times as you wish, and you can also help me if you wish with and a heart, written a donation on PayPal on my YouTube channel. You can find links to donate. So thank you. I'm going to stop sharing also. Okay, so and well, thanks a lot for being here. Let me also flip the camera to the other side, on the other here. And well, muchas gracias. Thank you so much, as always. Gracias. Chao. Chao. Hasta la próxima, amigos. Muchas gracias.